All right, all right. Take your seats, move up front. Find a friend. So another amazing day, right? And the conference keeps getting better and better. Just last night, we were wrapping up, and an agent said, "Hey, so what are you guys going to do for the next conference?" I said, "Oh man, we still have a whole other day." That was last night. We still have a whole other day to go. But you know, it's great to see again how the conference has continued to build. The topics have continued to kind of have a common theme. Many of you were with us in Miami when we were able to bring in someone who's become a friend of our movement and a true advocate and a true believer in what we are doing to change our community. As I shared in Miami, you know, when I think about truth tellers, there are a few people that come to my mind. And when I think about people that have directly impacted me, both personally and professionally, probably the most, this brother really is someone that's at the top of that list. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Mackie years ago as a college student down at Georgia Tech for a master's program forum, and since then I've had a chance to keep in touch with him. He's a native of New Orleans. I'm sure he'll tell you his story. He does well with introducing himself. Dr. Mackie has several accolades, as you can see in his biography. We're so proud to have him as an ambassador of the $50 billion Community Empowerment Plan. Please give a warm $50 billion Empowerment AMU welcome to my friend, Dr. Calvin.
Just need to sit down then. Y'all up already. My name is Calvin Mackie, and I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm from Backertown, Gertown, Zion City. I'm from the Lord 9, where we don't mind dying. I'm from that Wild Magnolia. I thought I told you. I'm from that CP3. You know me. So don't start acting like a pair of brand new shoes up in there. Yeah, see, you already surprised. You thought it was going to go a little differently, right? You read that bio, and you talk about Dr. Mackie and all the degrees and accomplishments. You expected me to stand up and go, "Hi, my name is Calvin Mackie, and it's good to be here." You wanted me to be at the podium all frozen and stuck to the sucker, like I can't go anywhere. But nah, it's not gonna go like that. See, when you're in the community, you gotta meet the community where they are. That's lesson number one. You wanna go to the community and be all sharp and clean and educated and trained and talking over people's head and talking down our nose and try to sell them something that they don't even know what you're talking about. So you got to be able to communicate with the people. But maybe I'm in the wrong place, Eric. Thank you all for having me. Eugene, Rob, Eric, thank you all for having me. It's always good to be here. It's always good to be in a place where I feel like I'm at home and I can be me and talk the way I talk and do the things that I'm supposed to do. Thank you to you all. Thank you for taking on a challenge that should have been taken on 100 years ago. Thank you for stepping up to the plate and doing what many people don't have the courage to do. Give yourself a round of applause. See, now this is big. We start talking about the B. We start talking about the other B word, the B word that we should be talking about, the B word that the rappers should be talking about. But they don't never talk about that B word. You know the B word they're talking about, but we're talking about 50 billion with a B. That is huge. You all trying to do something. Y'all trying to go down a path that people have never gone down before. You all like, when I go to the National Society of Black Engineers, I tell people I'm a black unicorn. You think about a unicorn, you don't think about a black one. There's some black unicorn work here. You see, Jesse Jackson said all slaves wanted to be free, but all slaves wouldn't make freedom a priority. When you start talking about buildings, you're making freedom a priority. A whole lot of people don't want to be free because they're happy where they are. A whole lot of us don't want to be free. So when you start talking about freedom, you scare the hell out of people. When you start using this B word, you black, you scare the hell out of a whole lot of people. Matter of fact, the whole world. When you start talking about doing things that never been done before, there's 4 things I'm going to give you a warning of. There's 4 things I'm going to give you a warning about. Because that's been my life story. Everything I've tried to do, people told me no. Every dream that I have is something that somebody like me never had before. And there's 4 warnings I've learned when I try to do something that people have never done before. When I take that unbeaten path. Warning number 1, you will be attacked. You will be attacked. And a lot of us don't want to be attacked. A lot of us want to be comfortable. Matter of fact, the more education we have, the more comfortable we want to be. We don't want to fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter, bro. But if you're going to do something that's never been done before, you better put on your glove, Rob, because you will be attacked. There's a crab in a barrel mentality, especially amongst low-resource people. And the funny part about it, I get to travel the world. And I've spoken in 3 continents and 7 countries before 3 head of states. I've eaten moose, goose, and caribou in a teepee in northern Quebec with the Cree Nation, low-resource people. When you're amongst low-resource people, you start talking about doing things they can't even imagine, you will be attacked. It's a crab in a barrel mentality. And I know y'all think about a crab in a barrel mentality. Everybody keeps talking about that. But nobody ever asks how the crab got in the barrel. Nobody ever takes into account that the barrel is not the natural environment for the crabs. Wow. I fish all the time. I go out in the Gulf and fish all the time. And I see crabs, and they just swimming around. But when you put crabs in a barrel, they act differently. So the question is, we got to get these crabs out the barrel. But since the crab's not out the barrel, you got to understand you have to deal with a crab in a barrel mentality. Meaning that you're trying to do something that people can't even imagine. So sometimes they don't only fear for themselves, they fear for you, so they try to pull you back. As a matter of fact, they don't want you to do it because when you do it, that's going to show them what they're capable of. And then some people just don't have the balls to do what needs to be done, for lack of a better word. So I'd rather you stay here with me rather than you go free and show me how to get free. You will be attacked. Now the question is, how do you deal with that crab in a barrel mentality? How do you get over that? I read a study once, and the study said based on all the people that you know, when you die, only about 10% of the people are going to come to your funeral. I'm like, wow. If only 10% of the people that I know are going to come to my funeral, why should I worry about anybody? And this thing called life, we got one chance at that. And we want to be all over the table instead of focusing on what we need to focus on and take that swing at this thing called life. And the way to get over that crab in the barrel mentality is you got to reduce the recovery from the hurt. It used to take me about 20 minutes to reduce the recovery in terms of people, doing things to me. Now, Maggie, it take about 2 seconds. I can't control how people hate on me, but I can control how I respond to the way that they hate. And we got to understand, you know what haters do? They hate. That's what they're supposed to do. Now the question is, how are you going to respond to that? Point number 2, when you decide to do something that the world has never seen before, something unpopular, like talking about $50 billion, you will be unpopular. You will be unpopular. And that's hard for us, because right now with Instagram and social media, everybody rich and flossing, everybody on the gram and Snapchatting, everybody living a life that the world has never seen before. We just want everybody to know how I'm living. You will be unpopular. And the way I deal with that is I look at President Obama. President Obama has been president for nearly 8 years. And I relish in the fact that he only got about 51% of the people voting for him. But he's still president. He's the president of everybody. But I can't be upset that people don't like me because I'm trying to achieve my dream. I'm trying to do something that's never been done before. And we want to be popular. We want to walk in the church and people know our name. We want to walk to the community center and people know our name. We want to go down the street and we want people to say, look at him, look at her, they're doing great work. But you better believe when you decide to go down this unbeaten path, you will be unpopular. And the question is, can you deal with it? Point number 3, you will be laughed at, you will be mocked, and you will be talked about. There was God that said first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. A dog don't park at a sitting still car. They don't put rear view mirrors on a spaceship for a reason. If nobody laughing and talking about you, you ain't really trying to make a difference. You just trying to maintain the status quo. When I walk in a place, I want them to say, there go that black unicorn. Well, that he's a fool. He around here talking about $50 billion. You know the white people ain't gonna let him do no $50 billion worth of work, dog. That boy must be on some drugs. Something's wrong with her. Been reading them crazy books, been listening to too many of them tapes, walking on them hot coals and stuff. Now talk about me. Talk about me. Because I'm not even listening. See, we don't understand. People don't buy what we're selling. People buy us. They don't buy the product. Matter of fact, who you are speaks so loudly that I don't even have to hear what you're saying. So when people laugh, I just walk by. Point number 4 is that you will be alone. You will be alone. You will be alone even right here in this $50 billion movement. When you start talking about booking 100 books, Maureen, Jackson talk about 150 books, people gonna look at you crazy. And we have a natural proclivity to want to belong. There's a natural battle in the human spirit to have our uniqueness valued and to belong to a group. So that's why we're part of all these organizations. I still don't know what they do. Urban League, NAACP, all the fraternities, all the sororities, 100 black men, 1,000 black women, the 2 Dog Society, the 3 this, before that. We good at meeting, we have got some panels, we convening, and we coming together, and we're gonna have another panel, then we're gonna have the black panel, then we're gonna have the financial panel, then we're gonna meet, and then we're gonna write a paper on it, then we're gonna get some strategic plans, and then we're gonna email it, then we're gonna examine it, and then we're gonna write a little book about it, then we're gonna come back, and we good at everything but doing. You can't fake this. When you made a commitment to this, when you convicted to this ain't about just meeting, but this is about doing. You got to get out here and do something. And that's what we haven't been trained to do. And people just think doing is natural, but doing ain't natural. This stuff that we do like this natural. And I do 100 gigs a year, and I just go and I'm like, man, I should have gotten a meeting business. I didn't know people meet this much. They need to come up there and bag a bus to this thing, put all y'all on a bus and take it to the hood and watch y'all do something. When you start talking about doing, Alan, that's when people gonna run. You start talking about meeting and coming together and putting on our suits. People see our cufflinks and our shoes. But we can floss everybody there. When you start talking about doing something, you are all, and I don't know about you. See, I went to school on the little yellow bus. I've been special all my life. They told me I was special. I was so special, they used to pick me up before they picked up all the rest of the kids. And I was so special, they used to let me out of school before they let the other kids out of school. I was special, and I embraced that. And what that little yellow bus taught me, Rod, what that little yellow bus taught me is that a whole lot of people never showed up to do nothing. But if 50 to 100 come together and do something big, at the end of the day, everybody gonna be standing there saying, I was with them. It's funny how everybody say they march with King now. But I understand that Martin Luther King was killed in Memphis fighting for garbage men because a whole lot of people in Memphis wouldn't stand up for the garbage men. Now I have a friend who knows President Obama personally, and he said President Obama said the job of the presidency is the most lonely job in the world. There's nothing like sitting in a hotel every night, eating food by yourself, looking out the window, wishing that you can talk to people, wishing that people will talk to you. There's nothing like you having a dream and want to accomplish your dream and coming to work and wanting to be a part of the group, but misery love company. So everybody who ain't doing that good, they hanging out, and when they see you coming, they disperse. You see, if you want to be average, the only thing you got to do is work. See, we're talking about greatness now. When you start talking about $50 billion, we're talking about greatness. And a whole lot of us don't understand what greatness means. But if you just want to be average, just show up and work. And a whole lot of us been taught to be average. When I was a professor at Tulane University, the president came in and he said, you know, the median average salary at Tulane is on par with the average of the region. I raised my hand. He said, yes, Kelvin. I said, man, I ain't never been average all my life. See, if you want to be good, just be disciplined. If you want to be good, if you want to be better than average, meaning good, then you got to work and you got to be disciplined. And a lot of us, we're good. The sad part about it is that too many of us are happy with being good. You can't get to 50 billion being good. A whole lot of people not in this room, a whole lot of people wasn't invited because they are good. And they're satisfied with being good. They can go home to their little middle class house, they can ride their little middle class car, they can put on little middle class clothes and go down to some place and they know everybody down there average, but they feel good about themselves because they are good. Now, DD, if you want to be better than good, if you want to be the best, you got to be willing to sacrifice. And some of us, y'all been invited because y'all the best. Gave you little plaques, gave you awards, gave you little trophies and boxes. And said, you are the best we have to offer. And the problem, brother man, for some of us, we on top of the world. We can look around and see 1,200 other agents and say, you know what? I'm not average, I'm not good, but I am one of the best. But the best won't get us the $50 billion. The best might get us to $40 billion where we are. And some of us have been dealing with mediocrity so long in our low resource community, we really believe that we should be satisfied. Why y'all talking about 50? We already got the beat. Why we got to go to 50? Shouldn't we celebrate we got 40? Hercules. Hercules. See, many people don't write down goals because they won't be held accountable. When you write stuff down every day, you got to go and look at it. Then when you don't accomplish it, the only person you can hold accountable is yourself. So that's why I like the fact they put this 50 billion right here. Because this is the goal. Not 40, 50. And we got 10 more to go. So to get to 50, you know what we gotta be? We gotta be better than the best. You know what our goal gotta be? We gotta wanna be great. You gotta wanna be great. Now, to be average, the only thing you got to do is show up and work. To be good, the only thing you got to do is be show up to work and be disciplined. To be the best, you got to be average, show up to work, be disciplined, and sacrifice. But to be great, you know what you got to be willing to do? Eugene, you got to be willing to suffer. You got to be willing to suffer. The reason why we talk about athletes, when we talk about athletes, like who's the GOAT and who's the greatest, we can point out who's the greatest and who's not the greatest, who's just been a good basketball player, who's the best basketball player on the team. We can talk about the greatest because we know that the greatest suffer. Isn't it funny that we have all these racial issues in America right now? And a couple of months ago, we celebrated Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali was the of all. Matter of fact, even people who hated Muhammad Ali in the beginning, they hated Muhammad Ali, but eventually, even at Muhammad Ali's funeral, the people that hated him, they stood up and they did what? They celebrated. The funny thing about Muhammad Ali is this: the less he talked, the more people liked him. I'm gonna say that again. The funny thing about Muhammad Ali the less he was able to talk, the more people liked him. And I promise you, just something in my gut tells me that if Muhammad Ali still had the ability to speak, this country would not have celebrated him like they were celebrating him when he died. Because there was no question that Muhammad Ali stood up and spoke for his community. And a whole lot of us won't stand up and speak for our community. We won't commit to our community because we worry about what other people are going to say about us. Muhammad Ali suffered it all. He gave it all up to be great. And my question to you is, what are you willing to do today to be great? You see, Eric, I never forget it. And before I get started, that was just my little, just something funny. I need to put that one there on the table. I had to get your head right. Before I get started, my beautiful wife Tracy, she believes that I'm ADD and I've never been treated before. So there's no way I can stand at that podium. And you know, we travel a lot. So last thing I want to do, I'm a 2 million mile travel on Delta. 2 million mile travel. The last thing I want to do when I'm not traveling is traveling. When I get home, my wife said, you know what we want to do, baby? I said, what? She said, we want to go somewhere. So we always travel. And a couple of years ago, my wife took me down to Florida. I mean, everybody got to make a pilgrimage to Florida. I got 2 little boys, Miles and Mason. Miles and Mason, they're 11 and 12 now, but we just go down to Florida every year. We went down to Florida and stayed in what it is, the Renaissance Hotel, overlooking SeaWorld. They were looking out the window. And they said, we want to go over there. I said, we're not going over there. My wife said, let's go. I said, we're not going over there. They said, why? I said, because the tickets are like $39.95 each. We're not going over there. If I want to see some animals acting a fool, I can just stay in the hood. She's like, well, the boys want to go to SeaWorld. We going to SeaWorld. Then we went to SeaWorld. And what make me mad about Disney, I can't have my daddy drinks. They had, you know, the little Kool-Aid and all that, and like a little Coke with nothing in it. So I'm already mad. And we had SeaWorld. And, you know, and the whale came out, the whale was swimming around, and the whale would do a trick, and they'd give him some food, and he'd do another trick. I said, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This whale was the biggest animal in the sea. This world has been created to eat when he wants, play when he wants, kill when he wants, but yet still man has trained this whale to show up and do tricks for a pittance of food. $100-something to watch a whale do tricks. I'm really mad. We leaving in and said, Daddy, we see the circus. We see the circus. I said, you better look at the circus because that's all you're going to get. Tickets to the Universal Circus, like $79 a month. Like, let's go to the circus. I'm going to go to the circus. She said, we going to the circus. You go when you go, we going to go to the circus. So we went to the circus. I'm sitting in the circus. Now I'm really mad. I'm really mad. And then the people came out, little lady clad in bikini came out on the elephant's back. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is an elephant. And the lady playing on the elephant back, she doing flipping stuff on the elephant back. They throw some peanuts down. The elephant doing a trick, all sorts of stuff. I said, this is unbelievable. The elephant is the biggest animal in the jungle. He's the king. He roams the jungle, but yet still man has trained this elephant to show up and do tricks for a pittance of food. Peanut, just tossing the things, and he does tricks for him. I said, this is unbelievable. And then the crusher came out. The lion came out. And they had a big circle. And the lion was running around. And I said, I know that lion ain't gonna jump through that fire. I know that lion ain't gonna jump through that fire. And the lion jumped through the fire. And my son was like, whoa! And I said, this is unbelievable. The lion is the king, the master hunter, the killer. No other animal mess with the lion, but yet still man is training this lion, the king of the jungle, to show up and do tricks for a pittance of food, to play. To get the lion back in the jungle, the lion can eat when he wants, play when he wants, kill when he wants, but yet still man can train him to show up and do tricks for a pittance of food. I said, this is unbelievable. My wife said, look, you need a vacation. You need to get your mind right. I said, no, baby. I said, just like that lion, just like that whale, just like that elephant, God has given us dominion over the earth to be free, play when we want, eat when we want, go out and kill and produce when we want, but yet still, man has trained our mind to show up and do tricks for a pittance of food. As a matter of fact, if you look at Willie, if you really look at Free Willie, when they freed Willie, they took him to San Diego, they went to Free Willie, they took Willie out in the ocean. And before they got back to SeaWorld, the whale beat them back to SeaWorld. As a matter of fact, the whale died trying to fight to get back into the cage. Oh, y'all ain't getting it. Y'all ain't getting it. See, our goal, our dream, if we're going to be great, if we're going to achieve the $50 million, is that we got to get our mind right. We got to get our mind back to the place of understanding that this is our birthright. You live in the greatest country in the world. This is the only place where you can get up every day and create a better tomorrow for yourself. Everybody else does it, but we won't do it because our mind ain't right. We allow man to put cages on our thinking, to put boundaries on our thinking. So we don't believe that we can do the things that we really can do when it's already in our DNA. If we can change our mindset, we'll change this 5 to a 10. As a matter of fact, since we got $1 trillion spending capacity, you might want to change this to a T. If your mind right. See, our goal in life and our goal at this conference, when you leave here, got to be the Free Willie. Get Willie back out in that ocean where he belongs, doing the things that he's supposed to be doing, and doing it in such a way that he's not worried about another man, another woman, or the government, or what anybody gonna do to him. Willie understanding that he have to get some dirt beneath his feet, some wind behind his back, and brother, make sure that he put everything in his head so that he can take care of his self. And people, we can do this. We can do this. Now, James Baldwin said, everywhere I go, and I started the way I started on purpose, because everywhere I go, people, I was just at General Electric. I was at General Electric, and it was Jeff ML, Al Sharpton, and me. Now, that's gangster. And I was sitting next to Jeff ML. I'm like, Jeff ML. I said, Jeff, tickle me. He said, what you talking about, Calvin? I said, Jeff, pinch me. He said, pinch me? He said, Calvin, what are you talking about? I said, Jeff, because dreams do come true. Who never thought somebody like me would be sitting next to one of the most powerful businessmen in the world at one of the greatest Fortune 500 corporations in the world? Pinch me, tickle me. Because I never stopped believing in the possibilities of what I can accomplish. And the question is, how is it that some people can get out the cage, but so many of us keep going back to that same place playing tricks for a pittance of food? Because that's why a lot of people are not here. They happy being in that cubby. They happy playing for tricks of food. When you start talking about freedom, they get scared and start backing up like that crawfish. Oh, not me. And usually when I finish, I know when I finished at General Electric, Jeff ML said, that's an angry young black man right there. Because sometimes you stand up and speak your piece. When you start talking about your freedom, people want to call you angry. And I just want you to know I'm not angry, I'm just passionate. And I'm glad that I'm amongst other passionate people that you all have here. Because see, if you're passionate, you don't have to worry about anybody getting in your way. Because your passion will make a way for you. Now, if you're just going through the motions and doing this thing and just stumbled up on some people and you just happen to get in, you know we won't see you anymore. And that happens sometimes. Now, in fact, James Baldwin said a passion is unfriendly. He said a passion is arrogant. He said a passion is contemptuous of all, not itself. Matter of fact, he said a passion contains a challenge and it contains an unspeakable hope. Now, I want you all to know, everywhere I go around this world, I challenge people, but I refuse to leave them with an unspeakable hope. I got a friend named Dr. True, and Dr. True said, Brother Mackie, when you lose money, you've lost a little. When you lose a friend, you've lost a lot. But when you lose hope, you've lost it all. And as I go around this country, look in the eyes of many of our people, look like they've lost it all. You see what this $50 billion is? This $50 billion empowerment plan, you know what you could call that? The $50 billion hope plan. Because if you accomplish this, you're giving people what? Hope for tomorrow. This is hope. And we can understand when we're talking about be with football players. We can understand when we're talking about be with entertainment. When we start talking about be with just common people and us and making it happen for ourselves, people get scared. I know people talk to y'all about imagining it. People talk to y'all about believing it. But Napoleon said a leader is a dealer in hope. And when you walk to somebody's home, your goal is to give them hope. You think you're selling a product, but really you're selling hope. And a lot of us don't believe in this thing called hope. Not only talk about hope, because hope is the thing that took us from where we were, hope is the thing that got us where we are, and hope is the only thing that's going to take us to where we need to be. Hope. Hope is the thing that caused the old lady to sit down and caused the nation to stand up. Hope is the thing that made Tuskegee Airmen believe they could fly airplanes when their own government told them they couldn't. Hope is the thing that made George Washington Carver do with a peanut 100 years ago that Harvard PhDs cannot do today. Hope is the thing that turned Detroit Red into Malcolm X. Hope is the thing that turned crackheads into teachers and pimps into preachers. Hope is the thing that took a 44-year-old man and sent him to jail for 27 years and he came out a world leader. Hope is the thing that took a 27-year-old preacher and made him have a dream that he could change the world. And you got to remember that Martin Luther King wasn't killed because he had a dream. Martin Luther King was killed because he got up every day and tried to make his dream. And if you get up every day and try to make this dream come true, that's why you will be attacked. You got to understand that hope is the thing that made Patrick Henry say, give me liberty or give me. Hope is the thing that made John F. Kennedy say, don't ask what your nation can do for you, ask what you can do for your. Hope is the thing that made our founding fathers right. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created. Hope is the thing that even made George W. in his second term, entitled his second term speech, The Duty of Hope. Hope is the thing that Ronald Reagan talked about when he talked about the shining city on the hill. He said, America is yes indeed the last best hope for man on earth. Now that's some hope for your behind. Hope is the thing that made a black boy with a white mom and a goat herding daddy believe he can be president. And a whole lot of people said, no, you can't. But we stood up, a whole bunch of people in America said, yes, you can. See, hope is that little voice in your head that says maybe, when the rest of the world is screaming no. I don't know about you. I don't know how many times people tell you no. But I sell stuff too, and people tell me no. When I ask people, can you buy this? They say no. Can I come to your store? They told me no. Can I come to your school? They told me no. Can I do that? They told me no. I was at the ball last night. I even talked to this sister. I said, you know what? I might want to get to know you. What's your number? Know what she told me? See, hope is that little voice that whispers, try again, when the whole world tells you no. And I don't know about you somewhere, in the good book is written that hope never despairs. That's right. When we lose hope, we've lost it all. And you all can't lose hope. You got to believe in this 50 billion just like you believe in everything else. You got to get up and over the next 6 to 7, 8 months run like you've never run before. And another thing, I'm a Hurricane Katrina evacuee, a Hurricane Katrina refugee, and a Hurricane Katrina survivor. And as young Jesus would say, a soul survivor. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, my family lost 29 houses. 10 years ago, March, I lost my dad, and 6 days before that, I lost my stepmother. We had 2 funerals in 3 days, real life. Because they couldn't get the treatment that they deserved in the aftermath of the greatest engineering disaster in the history of a free country called America. And I made the promise then. I said, never again any of our children should stand on a street corner, on a roof, with a sign saying, help me, waiting on another man, another woman, another government to do for them what they can do for themselves. One thing President Obama is going to teach us after being in the office for 8 years. President Obama is going to teach us this. Matter of fact, President Obama has taught us this. We just haven't gotten a lesson. And the lesson is the government ain't gonna save you. They didn't come with the birth of the nation when the Ku Klux Klan was running around. They didn't come at the end of Reconstruction. They didn't come with soldiers who were coming back from World War II, World War I getting lynched. They didn't come with John Lewis getting beat at the Pettus Bridge. They didn't come at Katrina. And guess what? They ain't coming. If we're gonna be free, we gotta do it for ourselves. And this is the start. And what makes it so hard has never been done before. And now the burden is on us. And we got to be willing to suffer to make it happen. See, if you want to be great, you got to suffer. When I die, I want people to know my name. And I was a professor. And after that Hurricane Katrina, I was a professor at Tulane University. First and only African American ever tenured in the history of the College of Engineering at Tulane University. And people say, Mackie, how did you do it? I say, man, that don't mean nothing. That just means they turned down a whole lot of brothers before I got there. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, the president of Tulane University made an unbelievable decision. He decided to keep the football team and eliminate the engineering program. So I lost a six-figure job overnight. And my buddy called me. My buddy was a football coach. He said, Calvin, who'd ever thought I'd still be as a football player and you'll be gone as a tenured faculty member? I said, don't worry about it, man. Maybe the young men got it right. He said, what you mean they got it right? I said, maybe I should have been doing wind sprints when I was studying calculus. Because the message that Tulane University sent to the young children of New Orleans is the message that many universities send out kids every day. That message that you can come to this university and run that rock, dunk that ball, hit that field, stop and drop it like it hot, and entertain us. Don't you think about coming here and getting an engineering or science degree and saving yourself and your community from the next natural disaster. Now, you don't have to clap if you don't believe it. And that's why companies tell you can come to their companies and do what we tell you to do. But don't you think about coming here and raising $50 billion in your community. As long as you're generating wealth for us, as long as you're making these books and generating some profits, that's okay. But when you start to focus on things that otherwise can create a legacy for your community and your name, then we got to question your motives. We may not even support you. You might just have to go do it by yourself. You got to do it on your own. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I thought this was an agent-led initiative. And I'm trying to understand why it isn't a corporation-led initiative. Because if you hit this $50 billion, not only would it help our community, it would also help the corporation. And I'm a capitalist. They call me the Black Mitt Romney. And I thought this thing was about ROI, return on investment. I said it, I'm a minute, and I'm here to represent it. At some point, you got to stand up and say what needs to be said. And that suffering comes from you all taking a bullet, Eugene, and say, you know what? You don't have to support us. We're going to do it anyway. Because this ain't about you. This is about our people. You think about that. I used to go to work every day at Tulane. Listening to Tupac, Me Against the World. Leave work every day. Listening to Biggie, Who Shot You? There was a battle. And I came home. And I lost my six-figure job. And I came home. Dude up in the tree, cutting the tree. I said, look at man, you might want to come down on that tree. I opened the door, and my two sons playing with their train. They came to me and kissed me. Now, kiss me. Love you, sons. Now, look over the shoulder, and they were just playing with the train, just playing by itself. Went in the kitchen. My beautiful wife, she cooking for everybody. 8 people had moved into our house. And she cooking a gumbo, she cooking an etouffee, she frying the catfish, and she making that good potato salad. I don't know about how y'all make y'all potato salad where y'all from, but she make that good potato salad. She boil them potatoes and she cut them before she boil them, and she get them small and she smash